I am Manji Reddy Nalamalapu. I am a special education case manager and a special educator. I'm working in Mississippi. Today in this video, I am talking about the autism spectrum disorder, what it is and how to treat with this and how to handle this kind of conditions if this condition is present in the children. Now, the autism is a progressive neurological and developmental disorder that begins early childhood and lasts throughout a person's life. In this word, autism, auto means self. That means the children who have this condition or who are diagnosed with the condition of autism prefer to be themselves. Why they want to be preferred to be themselves? Because of they have three characters in them which has a kind of barrier for them to communicate, to interact, or to be with the group of children. What are those three problems? The first one is socialization. They have a trouble with socialization. Number two, there is a language problems and the communication problems. Why? Because of the parts of the brain is not developed as they're supposed to be developed along with their age, so that they will exhibit the problems in these areas. Because of the exhibiting problems in those areas, they are unable to join with other kids who are at their age. Now, autism spectrum disorder, ASD, autism spectrum disorder is a condition of different condition. Sometimes we say just autism, but autism means is one of the conditions. But under the autism, there are several other conditions are there. What are they? One is autism, the second one is Asperger syndrome, the third one is pervasive developmental disorder, not otherwise specified, PDD-NOS, four is Rett syndrome, and the childhood disintegrative disorder, CDD. Autism is a lifelong neurological disorders of unknown origin that lead to a deficit in children's ability to communicate and understand language, play, develop social skills, and relate to others. So all these conditions are together, we call that as a autism spectrum disorder. That means all these conditions are come in one umbrella, which is called autism spectrum disorder. So any kind of this problem is called as autism spectrum disorder. If we have only one condition present, that's called the name of the autism, Asperger, or whatever it is called. Now, you see, I have a graph, I try to draw a graph to give us some idea how they work. Here on the graph, if autism means they are severely disabled, their IQ is too low. You see the graph at the beginning stage, their IQ is sometimes 25 to 39 is their IQ. If sometimes they have even profoundly disabilities, which means they have an IQ of below 25. Those categories come under the autism. In autism too, you see the profoundly disabled autism and there is a severely disabled autism. Two kind of way you can say that depends on how the children is interacting and doing their life help skills and all that. Now, if their IQ is better, if they have a moderate IQ, which is 40 to 54 IQ, then we call those children PDD-NOS, progressive developmental disorder, are not otherwise specified. We talked about before video. Those fall under over here, which is a moderate disability. The next one is mild disability, which is 55 to 69, is called a mild disability or mild IQ. They are called Asperger's. They have an Asperger syndrome. Some of these children with autism has a high IQ or high intelligence, especially children who fall under the Asperger syndrome. Now here, individuals with Disabilities Education Act idea of autism. Autism is a developmental disability significantly affect verbal and non-verbal communication, social interaction, usually evident before the age of 3, that adversely affect a child's functional performance. That is the idea definition of what is the autism is. What are the key points here are they have a verbal or non-verbal communication problems or disorders and have a problem or deficit in social interaction. At what time we usually find out? From 0 to 3 months, which means when the child is growing, they start with the non-verbal communication, such as the parent, if they saw the parent or the people who is well aware of them, they smile at them. That means they are communicating. Or if you see the strange people, they may cry. That is their response to the stimuli or the response to the surrounding environment. So at the early age, before 3 years, you find out that they are not doing what they're supposed to do as per as their age level of the other children, then that is a deficit. That is the time we have to consider to take the children to get tested or evaluate whether they have any condition of autism spectrum disorder is having. If you take to the academic institution, we will do the testing or evaluation to see whether this condition is present. If that condition is present and the condition is adversely affecting the child's performance in school, they will fall under the idea category of disability, which is called autism. Now the next one, Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders 4 says autism is one of the pervasive developmental disorder, also include the Asperger syndrome, childhood disintegrative disorder, and PDD-NOS are not otherwise specified. Now, Asperger syndrome, named after the Hans Asperger, who is the first person diagnosed this condition or identified this condition, has given the name to honor his services or honor his experiments. Now, it is a high functioning autism. As we mentioned before, autism spectrum disorders have a high functioning or high performance. Children with this condition appears normal but have some form of difficulties in social and non-verbal communications. They don't have a language and the difficulties may believe that this is a misdemeanor. They look like they talk and they behave like they're normal, but they have some deficit. It looks like they don't have any disability, but they do have a disability which is called Asperger syndrome. Now, what causes autism? This is a very important slide that parents call sometimes to me asking questions. Can I treat my child and all that? Then I refer this slide to talk about this. Now here, what causes autism? Any time in the world, if you have any kind of disease or condition is completely diagnosed and we know what is the problem is, then automatically there is a treatment. In this condition, autism, let us see what it's saying. There is no single specific cause of autism identified. Again, there is no cause is identified, there is no treatment. Okay, again, there is no cause is identified, there is no treatment. Alright, now, but variety of factors can result in this disability. What are the factors? Organic factors such as brain damage, genetic links, and complications during the pregnancy may contribute to this condition. Brain damage. Why the brain damage? During the birth time and during the childbirth, they have a umbilical cord around the neck. They may not able to breathe enough that lead to the oxygen deficiency to the brain. Brain will be affected, which causes that the child has a disability present here. And genetical condition. When the mutation time, genetics may play a vital role. If anything goes wrong, then that impacts the child performance or this condition will be present. So these are some of the organic factors that present. These abnormalities in the brain structure are a function. As we said, any of these conditions lead to the abnormalities of the brain structure or the brain growth, which lead to the condition is autism spectrum disorder. What is about the environmental factors that have been hypothesized, including the toxins and heavy metal, exposure to the heavy metal that lead to the autism spectrum disorder. Now, scientists suspect a faulty gene or genes might have a presence more likely to develop the autism when there are also other factors present, such as chemical imbalance, viruses, or chemicals, or a lack of oxygen at the birth. So, all we're talking about here is we don't have a really clear identity which is caused to this condition. We are all having is we are thinking it might be God, it may be some role in it and all that. So here is that we do not really know what is the single cause of the condition. Therefore, we cannot treat them. Now, what causes autism continue? Here is talking about that in a few cases, artistic behavior is caused by rubella. You know, the childhood shots we give it. Sometimes we call the rubella or German measles in the pregnant mother might lead to the child as autism spectrum disorder, or Fragile X syndrome, the most common inherited from the intellectual disability. If you have a child with Fragile X syndrome, which may lead to the autism spectrum disorder, encephalitis, the brain inflammation, which also causes to the autism, and untreated phenylketonuria, when the body lacks an enzyme needed for the normal metabolism that lead to the disability of the child, which is called the autism. What is about the treatment autism? As we said before, there is no single treatment. Why? Because there is no single reason was diagnosed or find out or evaluated at this time. So there is no treatment at this time. Okay, now, well, if there is no treatment, how can we deal with the children with autism spectrum disorders? Now we come to the point is this: there is no single best treatment package for all children with autism. However, most professionals agree that the early intervention is important and that most students with autism respond well to highly structured, specialized intervention programs. Okay, now what we do? There is no treatment medically, but if we can provide early intervention services that help the child to be better in the real life. What are the real, where we get that? There is a special school. There are the special trained people available. You got to approach them to get their opinion or to get their services to give an opportunity to the child to get early intervention. What they do early intervention, when you go to the child in there, they have a specially designed program to promote, to initiate, to motivate the child to do some activities which he need the social attention, which means by their peer group, they do some activities, then he will fall into that activity and he will also involve in that activity. That kind of activity are opportunities to communicate. They will simulate, they will create for the benefit of your child. That's why consider to place the children in the specially trained, with the special schools where you can have a multidisciplinary team where they can help you out or your child in order to help to handle the condition. Now, educational outcome. What is the educational outcome? What do you do in educational condition? Here we say that possible problem areas are listed here and educational implications have listed over here. Now, example, may not respond to the name and may appear deaf. You call them, they don't talk, they don't respond, they act like they are deaf. That's what we do. Now, they teach the joint action routines to engage the students. You got to set the routine, daily routines. They go by daily routine so that they tune to it and do the better job. Now, little or no eye contact, no reciprocal friendships. When we say follow the child's lead to determine the preferences that can be used to engage the student socially. What are the things that child can like to do it? Try to create that kind of activities for the other children who want to be in that school or the special education school, then they will do a better job in schools. Now, may treat the people as an object. Okay, now here the children with autism may treat your people like an object. So here what you do, use the other person's hand to reach out the object or hand. If you want to grab something else, they go get the object, they hold our hand, take it to the object and ask us to pick it up and give it to them. This is kind of behavior we notice with them. Consider the peer intervention packages to assist with social skills training. That's the way you can handle that kind of situation. Next, educational outcome continues. The speech and language communication deficits, how we handle it. Deficits may include the mutism or echolalia. They repeat the same sound again and again. That kind of behavior, what you do. Do not discourage echolalia. For example, students say that, my name is something like that, saying like that. Then do not stop. Hey, don't say that. Don't do that. Let him go through the flow. It continue and do not stop it. That's one of the actions that we need to take. Now, does not understand communication intent. You talk or you give signs or something like that. They seems like they do not understand you. Now, at that condition, focus on teaching functional, spontaneous communication skills. Now, difficulties with the language comprehension. What you do? Frequently conduct a reinforcement inventory to determine the student preferences and use those preferences to reinforce the teaching language skills. Here I'm talking about the difficulty language comprehension. They don't understand or they don't respond. What we do? Give an opportunity more and more to do those kind of activities. If they respond sometime, well, what we do? You give an opportunity for them to repeat again and give some kind of reinforcement to repeat the actions again and again in order to learn better or perform better. Now, deficits in the non-verbal communication. Rigid or use of language with typically immature grammar. Consider using the social stories, power cards, comic strips. These are all kind of strategies that trained professionals can use in the special schools. So consider to give early intervention services to the student with autism spectrum disorder so that they will get all these strategies in order to handle the condition. Now, stereotype behaviors, repetitive motor memories such as rocking, spinning, or hand flopping. We see this kind of rocking behavior. For example, they sit in the chair, they maybe rock the body back and forth. Or they raise the hand, they're going to say something like that. Or hanging hands like this. They do some kind of repetitive actions. Those are all called stereotype behavior. Then teach appropriate play skills with peers and object uses through direct instruction. Provide the direct instruction 101, talk about or place him to the play activities in order to overcome those kind of repetitive activities. For example, child sit in the chair continuously. Maybe we start rocking. Then what you do? Take him out of the chair, put him in a group, create some group activity, let him play with the group. Then he will come out of the condition which is repetitive motor behaviors. Now, may expresses the tantrums. So what you do? Determine the function of the behaviors and teach a more appropriate replacement behavior to meet that function. Or they have some kind of odd behaviors. For example, they throw a paper ball. When you throw the paper ball, just throwing not the paper ball, try to use the paper ball, throw it in a certain destination, like transfer his skill towards to the positive direction. That kind of ways we can handle this kind of behavior. May engage in self-injurious behaviors. Identify the antecedents and remove the situations. Like here, may engage in a self-injurious behavior. Children with autism, sometimes they injure themselves, they get hurt themselves. What we do? First thing is find out what is the incidence of that particular behavior. If we find the incident, we can remove the situation and then he will overcome it. And if you overcome it, that's a treatment. That's the way you can handle the children with that kind of self-injurious behaviors. Now, cognitive and perceptual challenges. Literal, restricted, and inflexible patterns of thinking. Use the social stories to teach other perspectives and the social cognition skills and offer role play opportunities. As you said that, the main problem with socialization, problem with communication. Therefore, create as many situations or opportunities as possible to engage the children with autism so that they can overcome the condition. Now here, tendency to over-select irrelevant stimuli in environment and not focus on relevant environment, which means something bell is ringing outside on the street. He's giving more attention to that sound. Instead, in the classroom, to follow the regular routine or the directions given to him, or the parents given the instruction, he may not pay that much attention to that. He will pay attention to some other sound which is not relevant to the situation, that kind of behavior. Now teach the student to focus on multiple clues. So how are you going to do it? Give a clue, something like that, what we are doing here, playing, put some kind of toy in front of them, talk about it, include some other student to work with him so that he will come out of that kind of behavior and track him back to the regular routines. Now here, problem with abstract thinking, but typically behave a good root memory here. Here problem is abstract thinking. You have to have some kind of tangible object, tangible activity. They can participate in it, they can see it. That kind of things they can do it. If you give some kind of things like abstract thinking, they may not do it. They may have a trouble with that. Then what we do, provide the structures through a visual support, assist with the planning, goal selection, and organization skill. You have to give a structure through the visual representation. Then they will feel, they will understand. For example, this is so tasty. It's apples so tasty. For example, you want to teach the skill. Apples tasty, what is that? He don't know. So you got to give a piece of apple, let the child feel the taste. Then he said that is sweet. Then he will understand and comprehend. That's what we're talking about here. Now the sensory processing issues. Extreme fear to the some auditory stimuli and new situations, people, changes and surprises. Consult with the occupational therapist to determine sensory issues and to promote accommodate. Okay. May appears like a deaf and blind. What you do? Consult with the speech therapist or the therapist who deal with the vision problems. Here the therapist, occupational therapy. If the student have or the child have a problem with fine motor skills, the skills that require the hand function, eye-hand coordination, that kind of fine motor things, then you consult with the occupational therapist who can help them out to do the things right. If the child has a problem with grass motor, with legs, then you find out the physical therapist who can train him to overcome the condition. For example, the physical problems such as walking on the steps, he may not do it, or jumping, hopping, those kind of activities they may not be able to perform. Then you need a physical therapy. Sometimes when I was teaching, I think that was in 2000, one of the students who has autism spectrum disorder not able to write with his pen. Why? Because he has a problem with grass motor. He cannot hold the pencil. Then I accommodated using a softball, put the pencil through the softball and let the child hold the ball and start writing. Then he start writing his names and alphabets and stuff like that. So these trained professionals can accommodate and modify situations to help the children with autism spectrum disorders. Tantrums. Tantrum behaviors will usually stop when the parents ignore the behavior. When the child is removed from the public space where the behavior is occurring, or when the child gets whatever it is they want, which means tantrums. They want to get the parents' attention. They want to get what they want to get it. So what they do, they cry or do something until they get it. What is best way you deal with that? Just ignore it. Unless the behavior is going to hurt the child, just ignore it. Then if you by ignoring, but you observing what his condition is and what he's going to do, then doing that, eventually he is going to or she is going to overcome the condition. But don't give it anything what he wants, then he will consider that behavior as a reinforcement or a treat for him. So he will repeat more that behavior. Whenever he wants, he will exhibit the behavior. So we don't want that. Again, all my colleagues and well-wishers who help me or who push me my way to be in the field and learn more and more every day are Dr. Ibrahim Farah, Clement Cheju, Dr. James Payne, and Don Eubank, who is the representative in Mississippi, and I am thankful for them for giving support and opportunity to talk to and share my idea. Here I put some information that this video has this information, the different kind of societies, professional association that help parents may need to communicate with them if they need any help or any questions, they might be able to help you. Again, I'm always thankful to my favorite writer, and I give credit for him, who is Dr. Heward Williams, and Smith Harlow, who is also one of my favorite writers. I read a lot of books about him, his writings, and also Rich and G and all other people and some other resources, online resources that I got it from the information from. And thank you for everybody giving an opportunity to learn and presenting this video. Thank you.